Hey, what's going on, guys? It is 8:52 at night and on a Thursday, and today I want to talk to you about what to do when you're just trying to get your very first subscribers. Like you're just trying to break out of orbit and trying to just get the podcast rolling and off the ground. I'm not sure if I'm sure you've seen this in a movie, right? I think it might have been like Apollo 13 or some other movie where they're trying to get off a planet, they're trying to get onto space, and they're just like using all their fuel, and just pushing super hard, trying to just get out of the atmosphere. And then there's this point where they break out of the gravity, break out of orbit, and all of a sudden everything is calmer. Everything is a little bit smoother. They can relax, they can breathe. There's the silence, there's a peace in space. Everything is a little bit better, a little bit easier. Now they're on their path towards their goal, whatever planet they're trying to get to. And that's similar to what you're going through when you're trying to start a podcast, trying to get it rolling. So I had a student of mine in the Podcasting Secrets course. I just did a strategy session call with him for about half an hour. Earlier today. By the way, if you get into the Podcasting Secrets course, which again is podcastingsecretscourse.com, you go inside, you get that course. You will get a free strategy call with me for next week. I think I'm offering this for next week. Today is Thursday, June 20th, I believe. And so you have a week to do that. And again, it's only like a $47 course, and just like the strategy session alone, I know it's going to be at least that much value for you. Plus, you get all the interviews and all the content for teaching you how to launch and grow your podcast to your first 1,000 subscribers. So again, if you want that, again, podcastingsecretscourse.com. So I had the student come on the strategy session call, and the big question he asked me was like, how do you even get started when you're just starting from zero? Like he's done like 20 episodes of like 5-10 minute podcasts, and he's just trying to get the first subscribers. And when you're trying to get this thing off the ground, you obviously want to spread your message, right? You have a message to spread. You have a business that you want to build. You have a brand that you want to build. You want to build your own platform, your own audience. That's your goal. And deep down inside, you may have different internal goals, or maybe you have this goal to build a platform so you can quit your day job. Maybe you have a goal to build a podcast so you can build a business and make some side income. Maybe you have a cause or message that you really want to put out there, and you're building this platform to spread that message. But it all starts with being able to have an audience first, right? But the issue is, like, just like in the movies where you're trying to get out of orbit, it's like a struggle at first. Right? How do you even get this thing rolling? And what I told him was like, it's the goal that you have to get the podcast rolling is different depending on what stage you're at. So just like in the movies, or I guess in real life, when you're launching into space, you have like that big like tank of fuel that pushes you out into orbit. And once you're on orbit, they detach that thing that makes up like 75% of the shuttle, right? They drop that thing out into the ocean, and then the rest of the way they're using other fuel. So similarly, when you are just starting out, you're using a different fuel than you are when you are actually rolling with your podcast. And it's important to note this because when you're starting out, your goal is not to build up to attract a large audience. Your goal really is to attract podcast guests that are willing to come on, that have an audience of their own, that are willing to come on your show, and then once they come on your show, are willing to promote the episode that you did with them. So your goal is really just to attract the big name podcast guests. Like, that's the goal. Once you get to that point, you're getting big name guests on, things start rolling better. You're out into space, you're floating now. There's a lot less resistance on your path to where you're trying to go. So there's a lot of different ways to do that to get your first 1,000 subscribers, right? We talk about all this in the course. There's tons of interviews that we're doing with podcasts, top podcasters, and we're adding them every single week, new top podcasters. We're updating the course all the time. And we ask the question to the top podcaster, like, if you lost everything, you had to start all over from scratch, how would you get your first 1,000 subscribers? And that's like the main question that I want them to answer, and that's what the course is built around. So there's a lot of different answers for that. A lot of it's in the course, but I'll talk about one particular method to do that. Because once you get your first 1,000 subscribers, then you start really getting the attention of the bigger name guests, and that's when things start rolling. You get maybe the C-list guests, and all of a sudden the C-list guests come on your show, and then all of a sudden the B-list guests are now going to answer your emails. And once you get the B-list guests, A-listers start paying attention and wanting to come on your show. So that's how it all begins. That's how you kind of get the ball rolling. So, but the goal is, again, is to get that first 1,000 subscribers. Because once you get 1,000, then some guests with an audience will start paying attention to you. And the way that one of the ways that you can do this is to try to dominate a very small group. And the way you can do that is go into Facebook groups, right? Go into a Facebook group, and here's a plan, right? Go into a Facebook group that is around your niche. Nothing too big, right? Maybe like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, just enough so you can actually stand out in the crowd and not be drowned out by 100,000 other people in the group. So you go in the group and then you look at what are the top questions people are asking. Is there a theme to the questions they're asking? Are there questions they're asking over and over again? And when you start seeing that, record a podcast. Either you go out and research and answer those questions, or you create a podcast around that topic, or you bring on a guest that can talk about that topic and answer that question for them. So now you're really creating content specifically for one group. And then once you start seeing people asking those questions again, you can just come in, give your answer based on what you learned from the podcast you recorded. And then also, if it's cool with the admin, you have to get signed off from them first. If it's cool with the admin of the group, drop your podcast in there and be like, hey, this is the answer to your question. By the way, I talk about this more in depth on this episode of my podcast. And you start doing that and just dominate that group. Every single time there's a question, you have the answers because you record the podcast. And there's things that you'll see the same questions come up over and over again. It'll come up once, and then a month later, same question again, same question. And you have all this content ready to kind of give to them, give them a lot of value. So you dominate that small group, and all of a sudden, like, you are the go-to person in that group of 1,000, 2,000 people. And surprise, they're all or a lot of them are gonna subscribe to your podcast. Maybe out of a group of 5,000, maybe like 10% of them subscribe to your podcast. Now you have 500 listeners that are coming in, and it doesn't take that long, man, because no one's doing this kind of effort. So that's what I told him. Like, get that first 1,000 subscribers and do that. Again, one of the strategies is go into Facebook groups and do what I just said. But we talk about a ton of other options in the Podcasting Secrets course. So, that's one approach. And when you take this kind of approach, you kind of got to think about that you aren't going to get the A-listers off the bat. And again, your goal is not to get the big audience. It's about building blocks and getting from one stage to the next. In the very first stage, when you have nothing, it's all about attracting the bigger name guests. And the bigger name guests will want to come on if you have a lot of podcasts that you've recorded, and then you have a track record of having a certain number of downloads. And the way you get a certain number of downloads is to provide a lot of value to a marketplace that already exists. And in my example, that marketplace is Facebook. Go to those groups, provide value to them, start building your audience from there, and then you can start moving up the ranks from the C list, the B list, to the A list, and all of a sudden you have one of the top podcasts in your niche. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, you want to know how to launch it, how to grow it, how to monetize it, make sure to grab the course, which is at podcastingsecretscourse.com. And I hope that helps you out, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.